Namaste. Welcome to Promet Prevention. Myself, Dr. Ankush, presenting you all the essentials of light needed for a community medicine student. We know that light is an essential subject to see, read, and understand everything. Light consists of 7 colors, we know it, and it's been so evident as vibgyor. The requirement of good lighting is possible by arranging some factors that helps effectively to reading process. If light is not in a good pattern, it leads to headache, stress, and other fatigue. A requirement of good lighting is surely needed to run or daily workout without losing efficiency. So we need to understand some requirements of good lighting, such as sufficiency of illumination, uniform distribution, absence of glare, absence of sharp shadows, steadiness of source of light, white color of light, contrast surroundings, and angle of light. First, we move on to the sufficiency illumination. We know that the first point is the sufficiency. Light is needed to be sufficient to see the objects properly. Insufficient lighting can cause eye strains, but an illumination that comes out from 15 to 20 candles are enough as sufficient light. Uniform distribution. The efficient vision without any eye stress is occurred by uniformity in light distribution. And when we discuss about the absence of glare, we know that the glare is high contrast of light. There should be excessive light and high intensity of light that cause glare. For example, automobile headlights at night and same lights during daylight would not cause glare owing to the absence of high contrast. So glare may be direct glare from the light source or the reflected glare from the source, such as tabletops and polished furnitures. So the glare causes annoyance. That's very important to know. The eye cannot tolerate the glare because it causes acute discomforts and reduces the critical vision. Fourth one is the absence of sharp shadows. We know that the shadows are inevitable, but sharp and contrasting shadows are always disturbing, and that leads to be noted. And we know the steadiness of source of light. Light must be contrast with contrast, constant contrast, and constant intensity. Flickering lights are creating eye strains and headaches. Sixth point is the white color of light. The color of light is not very important as long as the intensity of these lights are higher than the normal light. Daylight is sufficient illumination needed by the eye to fulfill the reading process. Seventh one is the contrast surroundings. The term refers to the background field of vision as a requirement of good lighting background has a major role. The walls in your rooms and the ceilings are creates reflections and it's essential to accumulation of light. Angle of light, the last point. Light should be established in a proper way so that it leads effectively by reflection. So it's told that for effective reading, a light source is better to establish on the left side than ceiling and other sides. Moving on to how we measure this light. We know that the brightness of a point of source is being measured with luminous intensity and is having a recommended unit known as candela with candle power. And the flow of light with the help of luminous flux and recommended unit is lumen. The amount of light that is luminescence is being recommended with lux and amount of light re-emitted by the surface is being quantitatively measured with the help of bright luminescence recommended unit is lambda. Coming on to the natural lighting process that happens, it's partly been derived from the visible sky and partly from reflection. Light comes to the room by reflection of light color objects. Efficient utilization of natural lights calls for careful design, location, orientation of building, and relationship between building, and natural lighting also depends upon to the day, season, weather, and atmospheric pollution. And we know that there are some suggestions for improving the daylight. First one is the orientation. The brightness of the sky is not constant on the east and west. Therefore, the illumination is subject to variation in buildings facing east and west. The direct penetration of the sunlight from east and west may heat up the rooms, especially during the summer. Removal of obstructions. Removal of obstruction items, either wholly or partially, is likely to give the most effective single improvement in lighting. Windows. Windows should be properly planned, as the natural lighting within any room is influenced by the amount of visible sky, the size, shape, and arrangement of window openings. The rule that window area should not be less than 10% of the total floor area. Last one is the interior of the rooms. The full benefits of the natural illumination. The ceiling should be white, the upper portion of the wall light tinted, and lower portion somewhat darker, so as to give comfortable contrast to the eyes. So we need to measure the daylight. There is a formula known as daylight factor. DF is equal to instantaneous illumination indoors upon simultaneously occurring illumination outdoors into 100. So there comes a feeling of knowing about artificial lighting. It's very essential. Daylight may not meet the requirement of illumination during all hours. And especially during cloudy days and all, it should be supplemented by artificial illumination for adequate illumination. So artificial lighting should be as close as possible to daylight in composition. So these are certain systems of artificial lighting. One is direct lighting. In direct lighting, we know that 99 to 100% of the light is projected directly towards the working area. Second one is the semi-direct. In this, 10 to 40% of the light is projected upwards and light reflected backwards on the object by ceiling. Another one is the indirect type. Light does not strike a surface directly because 90 to 100% of the light is projected towards the ceiling and the walls. This gives total illumination of the room. You can just see the pictures and you can note down these things. Next is semi-indirect one. Semi-indirect, here 60 to 90% of the light is upwards and rest downwards. And the last one is known as the diffuse. Here light is distributed equally and no one system can be recommended to exclusion of this method. These are the certain methods of artificial lighting which are improved. We know that there are certain methods which has to be done for doing artificial illumination. That is, the filament lamps are used, which we know the electric current heats up the tungsten filament and light emitted depend upon the temperature. The hotter filaments produces the blur light. Accumulation of dust on the bulb reduces illumination by 30 to 40%. The bulb and shades should be cleaned frequently. Second one is the fluorescent lamps, and they are economical in use of electric current. They are cool, efficient, light emitting, stimulates natural light. The lamp consists of a glass tube filled with mercury vapor and an electrode fitted to each the end. Inside of the tube is connected with fluorescent chemicals which absorb partially all UV, that means ultraviolet radiations, that remit the radiation in visible range. For lighting, we need to understand about some certain standards, and these the eye responds to the range of illumination ranging from zero point 0.1 lux, that is one full moon night, to 1 lakh lux, that is bright sunshine. And here are certain things which you can see. Last but not the least, we should understand about the biological effects of lighting. Considerable attention has been focused on the biological effects of light. The observation that the daylight could cause The in vitro degeneration of bilirubin is now being used as a therapeutic measure in premature infants with hyperbilirubinemia. Along with that, the biological effects of light include effect on biological rhythms of body temperature, physical activity, and stimulation of melanin synthesis. The activation of precursors of vitamin D and adrenocortical secretions along with food consumption is also in its greater challenge. So knowing all these things about light, you will come to know that how important light and lighting is all about. This is Dr. Ankush signing off for Med Prevention. See you in the next video with another interesting topic of community medicine. Have a good day. Thank you.